In this tutorial we're going to see how you can generate and use a pivot table to analyse student data, and this is really useful for comparing estimates, predictions or targets with current data, say an interim termly assessment. And you can do this for a whole cohort, classes or individual student groups such as boys and girls, those on free school meals, looked after children, etc. So let's see how it works. So first of all, you set up a simple spreadsheet with the children's names and the data that you want to compare. So here we've got the Key Stage 4 target for science, we've got the current interim assessment in Year 10, and then after the children have left, we've actually put the actual grades that they achieved, so you can compare any two of these. Here we've got different groups, so we've got actually the class that the children are in, the gender, free school meals, etc. And these groups are taken from the current Ofsted evaluation schedule. So how do we set it up? First of all, we select the whole sheet by clicking here. Just left click once. We then go to Data, Pivot Table and Finish. Now what this has done, if you look down here, is set up the table and a new sheet. So we need to rename this, so right click there, rename, and we'll name that Pivot. Now in this little window we've actually got all of the headings for the sheet. So what we want to do is to compare two values, and we're going to compare the target with the current to see how well they're doing against targets. So we take this target and left click and hold and drag it into here, and we're going to put it in this row, and we're going to compare that with the current assessment in Year 10. So we'll do the same and we'll compare it there. Now you notice that the A star and the A are the wrong way around. To correct this, just click on the A, type in A star, and they'll automatically swap around. Similarly here, now this occurs also if you use sub-levels as A, B's and C's. You'll find that they're in the wrong order. So if you use 3A, 3B, 3C, 4A, 4B, 4C, etc., they'll come out in the wrong order, and you'll need to change those to be correct. Now the thing that we're going to compare, of course, is the children. So we're going to put the children's name into here. So we drag and drop that into there, and what we immediately get is how many children whose target is an A star actually are getting an A star, etc. I find it quite useful now to just highlight in a colour the actual grades of the target against actual to the same. So just do that. Okay, so if we look at those children who are targeted to get a C, we can see we've got 3 who are actually currently on a B, 18 on target for a C, 2 for a D, 3 for an E, etc. Now, I want to look at males free school meal children, so I want to filter this data, because remember in the original sheet we have that data available to us. So what I do is to take the factors, the variables about the children, and I'm going to put those here where it says drop page fields here, and this will set us up some filters. So I'll just do this one by one. I've got the class, gender, free school meals, looked after, and so on. And I can include all of those. So I said I wanted to compare or look at male free school meal children. So I have a drop down menu here. So I go to male, okay, free school meals, yes. And what I end up with is just the data for those children. Now if I want to keep that data on a pivot table, what I can do is copy the pivot table and therefore keep, for example, boys free school meal, girls free school meals, etc., without having to constantly change these filters. So I'm just going to go back to all, simulate all. Now if I click outside of the table, I find that that little box disappears, and if I click anywhere in the table it will reappear. Also, you notice this menu, and if you actually change some data you can refresh it, and that will actually refresh the pivot table by clicking on that. If we want to resize these, if we highlight the cells that we want to resize, the columns actually that we want to resize, and then drag that one, they will all resize. It's just a little easier to look. Now I want to know, for example, who the children are who are targeted to get a C, who are actually achieving a D. So if I double click on this cell, I get a new sheet set up with those children named. So what I should always do is rename that sheet. So that's target C on D. I go back to my pivot table and I want to know who these children are, the ones who are targeted for a C, who are getting an E. I do the same and I get yet another sheet, so I need to always rename that so that I know what it's about. So that's target C on an E. Back to the pivot table and so on. So hope that's enabled you to be able to take a sheet of information about a cohort and be able to analyze that data very quickly, very easily. But of course what's most important is what you do with the data and the actions that take place for those children to actually look at why they're actually underachieving and what can be done to get them up to or beyond their target grades.